young, old, and everyone in between. Lavish talks about business, news, politics, networking, and anything else that's going on in the world. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Lavish Towing, and on YouTube at Lavish T. Williams. This is Lavish T. Williams.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I got Horace Sheffield on the show today, and we're going to kick it about some various different things that's happening and that has happened in the course of his life. So everybody, let's have a warm welcome, a warm round of applause to Horace Sheffield. Horace, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, I feel like I'm popping, I'm happening, I'm blowing up.
Man, that's what's up, man.
You know, I did in my pantheon of things that I wanted to have happen and know I was successful, it was being with you, Lavish.
That's a good thing. Thanks to have you here today.
Absolutely.
So this is what I want to start off talking about. About a year ago, COVID came around, and it changed everything. It changed everybody, the way that we were thinking. When it first came, we kind of didn't know what it was. A lot of people, they were dropping like flies. It was a lot of deaths. And in the beginning stages of COVID making it to Michigan, you were one of the few that caught it. Can you elaborate about that? How did COVID happen? How did it affect you? How did it change you? And how did you deal with it?
Well, I went to New York to meet with Reverend Sharpton and some officials representing Mike Bloomberg. The National Chair rebuilding Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we had an opportunity, Reverend Sharpton being one of the co-chairs, to try to raise some funds to rebuild that place. A historic thing happened there with people being bombed the first time U.S. military bombed a domestic location. And after the meeting, going back to my hotel, I remember at the corner of 79th and Amsterdam, just feeling totally terrible, shaking, leaned up against the building. I thought at that point I was having, a sinus infection because my sinuses do bother me. But I went immediately and got me some Allegra D and crawled into bed, tried to sleep it off. But when I got home, it just seemed like something more. Called my doctor. He gave me a Z-Pack, which now I know probably was very instrumental in it not being worse. Took that the second day and then was diagnosed about 3 or 4 days later.
Man, that's horrible. Now, with the news of so many people going to the hospital, getting checked out, passing, dying from this new disease, this new thing that's going on, how did that make you feel? Were you scared?
I trust God, and I put everything in his hands, but it certainly, in retrospect, looking back on it, made me feel like I was like one of the Jewish people in Egypt, that it had passed over, that the Lord had told COVID and death not here. Now, one of the most striking things, Lavish, is a lady named Sandra Campbell went to high school with me, was our accountant, and she was getting our audit done because I needed to get some money that I normally get in March. And she had texted me, which I didn't see until after she died. And she says in the text message, "Hey, Horace, I heard you got COVID. I hope you'll be all right. And by the way, I feel terrible." 3 days later, she was dead. And I remember seeing a text message from her, but I was running and doing things. I didn't open it and read it. And when I went back and read that, that just really hit me.
Yeah, I mean, it hit a lot of people because I don't think nobody has had time to mourn the loss of so many different people because it just happened. One after another.
And I will say this about it. If anybody's listened to me, I had the good fortune of having people in my family who are in the medical profession. And they advised me not to go in the hospital, not to get on a ventilator. Most times, 9.5 times out of 10, when they put you on the ventilator, it weakens your system. Your body's not able to recover and breathe on its own, and hence Benny Napoleon. So I was blessed to have folks around me. And by the way, not being able to get a test, by the way, again, people in my family who were in the medical profession got me a test. I didn't have a fever. All the normal protocol that required you, that you had to have a test, I didn't have. And so that made me begin to want to test people and say, well, they don't have a primary care physician. They don't have a script. Doesn't matter to me. They don't have a temperature. Doesn't matter. I want people to know whether or not they got COVID. And so we began testing them.
Yeah, I seen that you had tested down at your location.
Yeah.
How many days and how hard was that to put that together?
The first day that we tested, we just, Quest has just left my office. Getting ready to do a national research project based on the work we're doing on that corner. We had over 1,500 show up. 1,500 people, Lavish. We have some photographs. I mean, Grand River was blocked. Wyoming was blocked. The police had to come. We tested 450, of which 30-some% of them were positive. But we did that without needing a script, without needing a primary care physician. Didn't matter whether you had the conditions or the temperatures. People wanted to know. And that led me to do continuous testing. We're still doing tests. In fact, we're testing tomorrow at the Sheffield Center. And I've got 10 other sites, 10 other churches that we got $3.8 million from Quest to be able to do testing and hire full-time health navigators, not just COVID-19, because the reason we die is because we got other stuff. We got bad hearts. We got bad lungs.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
High blood pressure.
Right. Kidney failure.
Right. Yeah, a lot of health issues.
Hepatitis. We got all kind of stuff that folk have they don't even know. Walking around with HIV. I mean, bodies are simply compromised. And this, by the way, takes advantage of a weakened and compromised body.
Okay. Yeah, and the drive that you're doing, is it open to the public?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact,
anybody can come.
We're doing vaccinations. I just got a text message from a CNN reporter out of Atlanta who's from Detroit, wants me to get their family vaccinated. We vaccinated 230, 40 people yesterday. Okay. Every Thursday, we have the Moderna vaccine. You can be 18 and over because we're a part of a health network. We can actually give vaccinations to 18-year-olds and up. So 313-491-0003, 313-491-0003. This is better than Bitcoins and gold, man. I got people. I'm in Nassau, on the beach. Hey, man, can I get a vaccine? Sure, absolutely.
All right, that's great. Now, Horace, I want to go into this as well. You've never been shy to speak on anything. Mm-hmm. You're very open. It's a lot of people in the community, they have heard of Horace Sheffield. Mm-hmm. They heard of the Dabo organization. They mentioned you. You're on the news. You're in the media and everything like that. But you're no different than anybody else.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and the reason I mention this because a lot of people feel that by you being a reverend, they hold you to a higher standard. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you still have the same vices.
They know me. They know I'm just real, brother. Let me tell you something, man. My father, in 1963, took my sisters and I, and we swam in Lyndon Johnson swimming pool and met President Kennedy that was celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation.
Okay.
And I would always, say to my dad, man, Dad, you somebody. He said, man, I'm just trying to be a champion of poor folk. And he'll always tell us never have a Wall Street mentality in a blue collar town. People don't mind you doing better, just don't think you better. So, I'm an ordinary guy, man. I mean, I'm just like everybody else. I have my failures, my foibles, the things about me that some people may look at and say he ain't worthy to be a preacher. Well, they didn't think Jesus was either.
That's right. That's not for them. That's not for them to judge.
Right.
Now. Because a lot of people, they don't know this.
Right.
Some do, some don't, depending on who's watching. But at some point in your life, you had a drug addiction.
Right.
Speak on that. And I mean, it's big, and I want people to know that because from where you're at and where you come from, they need to see that, hey, you're no different than them, and if they're there, they can come from that.
So actually, once addicted, always addicted. I'm in recovery. So hi, I'm Horace. I'm an addict. My drug of choice was cocaine, eventually crack cocaine, but I also was cross addicted. I would drink a fifth of Chivas Regal a day. My addiction at its height was probably worsened because, I had a relationship with Billy Paul and other professional singers, went on the road with him, and they had money, and, there were women, there was always drugs, and the best cocaine you could ever find. I snorted cocaine for probably 5 or 6 years. It wasn't until I freebase cocaine that I really went over the top. But my addiction, Lavish, was rooted in my age of 16 when my mother, at the age of 43, died. She had a massive heart attack. I stood over her as they tried to literally massage her heart and bring her back.
Wow.
And during that week of mourning, a lot of my father's friends, and I tell people, don't do this, gave me alcohol. Said, take this, you'll feel better. And so at 16 years of age, I developed this notion that somehow or another, if I medicate, then I can take the pain away, that I won't have to feel what I'm really feeling. And so for the next, 14, 15 years, one form of another. And it was always exacerbated, always got worse when I was in conflict or crisis. I would go periods of time where I didn't use or I wasn't, abusing, although people say if you use, it's an abuse. But I wasn't doing it every day. Wow. I wasn't, losing cars, homes, and whatever. But then when things would happen that I couldn't deal with, then I would go into binges. In fact, the last binge before I went to treatment, I went through several $1,000s, found some of my father's checks and wrote checks and cashed them at this market over on Trumbull. And true story, man, I had a Lincoln Continental was paid for, and I had my title in the car. And a gentleman who's now dead, who was the road manager for Supremes, we used to get high with Eddie Kendricks and David Ruffin and, all those people. And I had spent about $3,000 one night, on 8 balls and cocaine, getting high. And 8 o'clock in the morning, the money was gone, the drugs was gone, and he asked me if I would sell my car for an 8-ball. Took me to the payphone on Milford and Whitewood and stood out the car on the phone, said, man, yeah, he'll give you 8-ball for your car. And I had an eighth of a tank of gas and my title in my hand. And I think God spoke to me. He said, now, if you do this, you're gone.
Wow.
It's through. You're not coming back. Wow. And I looked at this guy begging me to sell my car. I drove my car to Pontiac, Michigan on an eighth of a tank of gas, Lincoln Continental. Pulled up in front of 34 Cherokee where my sister lived, and her husband was the chief of police, Reginald Turner. And when I got to the house, the car cut off and ran out of gas. I went inside, told my brother-in-law and my sister that I had a drug problem, I needed to get help. Next morning, I went to Birmingham, Alabama, and I've been clean now 33 years.
Oh, man, that's a blessing. Yeah. Won't he do it?
He'll do it.
He'll do it, man.
And let me tell you what's so strange.
Goodness gracious.
There was a white woman named Sarah Gentle, and she had on all white. She looked like an angel. When you go to treatment, they give you phenobarbital to take off the effects, so you sleep 2-3 days. And I woke up, here's this beautiful white woman in all white. I thought I was in heaven. I thought I had died, And I'm crying. She said, what's wrong? I said, I just don't know what I'm going to do if I came here to get help and it doesn't work.
Okay.
That woman, Sarah Gentle, who's dead now, bless her heart, actually helped save one of my family members, said to me, said, Horace, I've never met a person yet who got up in the morning who asked God to keep them clean and meant it that ever relapse. And she taught me a prayer: eliminate the mental obsessions, eradicate the physical cravings, and make the thoughts of using drugs and alcohol a thoroughly distasteful proposition. In Jesus' name, I prayed that prayer every day for 33 years.
Man, that's a beautiful story.
First thing I say when I get out to bed, Lord, eliminate the mental obsessions. See, you think about it before you use it.
Okay.
And then when you use it, becomes physiological. People don't understand. Well, how you just make up his mind? No, it's in your chemistry. It's in your blood, man. Your body craves it. So anyway, Yes, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of the gospel. I'm not ashamed. I think the passion that I have for living, the desire I have for helping people is all rooted in the fact that I've been given a second chance. God has blessed me to overcome something that friends of mine who did it with me are dead, but I'm still here.
Oh, man, glory be to God on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't look at you and think that.
Right.
And it's a testimony that you shared,
Yeah.
Because a lot of other people, they might not have known that. But the ones that's going through different life struggles, when they hear these stories, it can help them in their life struggles and everything. Yeah. Man, that's a blessing. I'm glad that you've been clean.
Possible. I had a situation a couple of years ago where someone that I know very well was dealing with somebody that we both know who was addicted. And this person said to me in the car, I can spot an addict. I know a junkie when I see one. I said, really? How you know? And he went through this litany of things. I said, well, I'm one. Blew his mind, Hey.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I say, it's hard to see you now.
Yeah.
And think about what you just said back then.
I stole from my father, man. And my daddy came down the treatment to get me. And I'm almost gonna cry, man. He stood in that room and he thanked those people. Only time I saw my dad cry, that and when my mother died. And he told him, I just want to thank you for giving my son back to me.
Oh, man, that's a beautiful story. Yeah. And I'm glad that you actually shared it.
And I'm glad he had a chance to spend at least, 12 years
watching you clean, seeing you clean.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad. I'm definitely glad. I'm definitely glad you clean. Mm-hmm. Now, Horace Sheffield the Third. Mm-hmm. That what does that name mean to you?
Well, number one, it means that I'm the grandson of Horace Lindsay Sheffield Sr. My grandfather was one of the first black foremen at Ford Motor Company, founding member of Tabernacle Baptist Church. Took great pride in that house on Hazlett between Milford and Tyman, and taught me an awful lot about the Lord, and worked 50 years in the foundry at Ford's to take care of his family and give a better life to them. And so the little he had was a lot, given him from whence he had come and what he had to go through to get it. It also means I'm the son of Horace Lindsay Sheffield Jr., which is my dad. And by the way, it means I'm also the father of Horace Lindsay Sheffield the Fourth.
Yeah, I seen
my
that.
My son who
now,
does music, yeah.
Is there a Horace Sheffield the Fifth?
Well, if there is, he hadn't told me about it. It won't come from me, that's for sure.
Would that be a name do you plan to see your grandchild or having a grandchild named after you? Is that like a name, a family history name that's going to go down?
I think, it's a good name. My daughter has certainly benefited from the name, being the youngest elected to council. Hopefully will be mayor one day. But as I told my son, you don't have to name him the fifth. He can just be Horace Lindsay Sheffield.
As long as he's Horace Sheffield.
Yeah, right.
Keep the tradition going. Keep the name.
Like he like me when I was coming up, my father being such a prominent person, it's hard to find your own identity when you have someone else's name.
Right.
I was helped because my dad just wanted me to be myself. So he's come to that point where he knows I don't expect anything. Only thing I expect from my kids, don't go to jail, don't get on drugs, and don't get nobody pregnant unless you're married. Those are the three things. Now, my kids are in their 30s. They don't have any kids. They ain't on drugs, and they ain't in jail. Okay. Other than that, is frosting on the cake.
Oh, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Now, who was in the civil rights movement? Was that your father or your grandfather?
My dad.
Okay, your dad.
Yeah, my dad.
Okay, because I found a picture of your dad, and you can explain this picture.
Well, the man in the middle is G. Menon Williams. He was a liberal governor of the Menon family, Menon aftershave, Menon shave cream family, very wealthy family from Grosse Pointe. One of my dad's mentors, of course, that's Dr. King. My father was the first person to ever bring Dr. King to Detroit in 1956. Worked for Dr. King, walked behind his donkey cart-driven hearse in Atlanta. In fact, wrote a brilliant piece I have to share with you one time about his recollections of walking behind that. So he was a labor leader in the black trade unionists were a very powerful force in the civil rights movement.
Okay, that's great. Now, who formed the Dabo?
My dad. My dad
Okay.
was about we call it Dabo. It's a day.
It's Dabo, not-
It's a day.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all right. That's something people commonly say. But just think about Harry Belafonte. Deo. Yeah, I mean, the whole point is that every other ethnic minority community has some organization that rallies all of their people, brings all of their organizations together. And my dad said, everyone wants to save the race, but we're still lost. That's because we don't work together. We get divided on ideological issues. We get divided over how we should do it. I mean, let's agree that we're being mistreated, that we're marginalized, that unless we organize, we're never going to be in a position. They don't mess with Jewish people. You know why? Because every Jew in the world, if there was something that affect Jews, every Jew in the world, you wouldn't have to beg them to stand up with that cause. They would do it. Okay. It's just in their DNA.
Okay. So now what all do you do down there?
What don't we do? We have a clinic. We've been blessed to get some federal money. We do an awful lot of what I call feeding the working poor. We just established a relationship with gleaners, so we're going to be giving out a whole bunch more food. We had a relationship with World Central Kitchen, which you were a part of, where we did meals and all that kind of stuff. We're doing testing. We're doing training. We're involving young people in becoming entrepreneurs. And then, we gotten into housing now. We're doing some housing where we're helping families and veterans in particular have some place to stay as they transition from homelessness to some sense of stability.
Okay, that's great. Every week you're passing out food to the community down there. Like you said,
and clothes. I don't know if you come and see our clothes.
I have not.
So we have designer clothes, man, donated to us. I mean, Coach, Coach shoes, polos. I mean, Kate Spade purses. In fact, tomorrow we have 500 pairs of shoes, and this is all brand new. What do we do with it? Well, we tell people, come get the stuff, get tested. It's a way of incentivizing them to do what they should do without having to be given anything for free.
Okay. Who are some of your partners?
Well, we work with Hearts of Humanity. We work with Greater St. Mark Baptist Church, Choose Healthy Life, United Way, Lavish,
Yeah.
We work with Greater Grace. We're doing a site there every fourth Saturday. We're there. Third New Hope and Saunders Memorial AME Church. Those are our partners. Every second and fourth Saturday, we're doing testing. Every Thursday now, we're doing vaccinations. By the way, 313-491-0003, 313-491-0003. And you can get yourself vaccinated, 18 and over, and get some food, clothing, and get tested all at one time.
All right. You have a center where people can use and pay their DTE bills down there at your facility.
Yeah. You pay your property taxes, your utility bills. All of that can be done right there for no fee.
Okay.
A lot of our people go to these, check cashing places and grocery stores, and we're always struggling to pay our bills. Why we got to pay $2-3 to them to pay somebody else? Yeah.
All right, and you got space for people that need to rent space for gatherings and
our
events.
Buildings are used all the time. We've got 2 buildings now, so and we're doing more work as we speak to make them even nicer. But we have wedding receptions, funeral repasts, birthday parties, and it's a pretty nice facility. We've also hired some additional people to handle the building, some former Detroit police officers who are there to make certain people are safe, the parking lot safe. We've had no problems, man. I mean, I think people know the work we do, and I've seen people in the neighborhood tell me they saw so-and-so about to do this, and they say, hey, man, don't mess with that place, man. They do too much good stuff there.
Doing good things.
Yeah.
Now, what's your relationship with Judge Mathis?
Well, Judge Mathis and I go a long way back. We both worked for Detroit City Council, and then he, in about 1983, came to work for Dabo as my father's personal assistant. And, he and I right now, in fact, we talked today, His show is winding down. He's in his last year.
Okay, didn't know that.
And he is going to become the national chairperson of the National Association of Black Organizations. We've taken our organization national. I'm setting up chapters in St. Louis, Atlanta. I've got about 6 cities that are going to have associations of black organizations, and Judge Mathis is going to be our national chairperson for the National Association of Black Organizations.
Well, that's a good thing. I also want to share this because he mentioned you on one of his. He mentioned you on one of his shows.
Did he say something nice?
We about to let the world see. If you haven't seen it, we're going to show it to you right now.
That's when I started Angels of Michigan. That very next week, I took the class for my 501c3. I got it through the Dabo Center.
Did
Reverend
you?
Sheffield, yes.
Yeah, Reverend Sheffield. I helped start that with his dad.
Yeah.
Horace Sheffield Sr. Maybe 84, 85. I helped start Dabo.
Oh,
now
okay.
it's on Grand River.
In Wyoming.
I work with Horace. He just gave us a bunch of food that he gives away. He gave it to the Mathis Center to distribute in our area. So good. Dabo, right. Dabo, good. And it's named the Detroit Association of Black Organizations. That's what it stands for, headed by Reverend Sheffield, Horace Sheffield. Hopefully he'll be happy with me now. He mad because I won't give him as much money as he asks for all the time. But his daughter is Council President Pro Tem in Detroit, and one day I'm going to support her to run for mayor. I used to hold her in my arms.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, that was a good shot, man.
You and I. Yeah, we go a long way back, man. And, that was a tremendous shout out. We heard from people all over the country. People donated money to our organization as a result of that. And I'm looking forward to working together again. I think, it's time for NACP, Urban League, National Action Network. I helped form that with Reverend Sharpton. Let's come together under one umbrella. And let's pool our resources, black fraternities, sororities, and let's have some clout.
Right on. Well, I don't want to end this show because I know you have something to do. I know I want to get you back on here so we can talk about your daughter, the councilwoman, Mary Sheffield, what it means to you.
The next mayor of the city of Detroit.
So is she running?
No, she's not running this time. This is not a good time to run. The mayor said he's going to run for this last term. It's a pandemic. There's a lot of stuff needs to be done, and she's going to run in 4 years. We're going to be an open race.
Okay, that's fine. That's understandable. Definitely. One more thing.
Would you support her?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Mary's got a good shot at being mayor of this town one day. I do. Yeah.
Okay.
And if she wasn't my daughter, I'd say that.
Well, before we go, let them know you do have a radio show. You still have your radio show?
I still have a show every Saturday called On the Line with Sheffield, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 10 a.m. Our TV show, which we got to get you on, is also on Sunday called Real Talk at 12:30 p.m. on WADL.
Okay, that's great. All right, everybody, that's Horace Sheffield. Thanks for stopping by the show. I know you got things to do. We're not going to hold you up, but I definitely want to get you in here again so we can finish chatting.
Yeah, we got to cherish, lavish.
All right, now y'all have a good one. Thanks a lot.